Boy, it's great to see everybody in this building. That's what I like to see in my community. So welcome. My name is Terry Snyder, and I am the Alaska AARP State President. Welcome to the Forum for Senate Seat F. AARP is the sponsor of the event tonight. AARP is a nonprofit, nonpartisan member organization and does not have a PAC or a political action committee. We do not support or oppose candidates for public office, nor contribute money to political parties or campaigns. Instead, AARP encourages you to learn about the candidates, and on August 16th, next Tuesday, vote for the candidate of your choice. So tonight, the question should come from you. When you have your question ready, put it in the air and one of our runners will pick it up and we'll get it to the moderator. So now I'd like to introduce our moderators for the evening. Please welcome the consultant for Sandbox Solutions, Chad St. George, and John Arono, who runs Alaska Commons, the best online website around, news site. Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr. Hale?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for being here, and I'd like to thank AARP for inviting me. It's really an honor. My name is Tim Hale, and I am not now, nor have I ever been a member of a political party. I'm an Alaska kid. I'm born and raised. I went to grade school in Whittier, high school in Valdez, college in Fairbanks, and I'm a construction surveyor. So if you have been on Trunk Road or Bogart Extension East over the last 4 years, you've probably seen me out there with a funny looking staff and a big hammer. As far as my political views go, I consider myself a centrist, which means that my mom calls me a conservative and my fiance calls me a liberal, and neither one of them mean it as a compliment. All jokes aside, I think what I bring to the table is working class values, critical thinking skills, and a profound respect for individual liberty and personal responsibility. You will not see me on your primary ballot as an independent, but I will be on the November general election ballot, so I'd like to invite everyone to visit my Facebook page at Mr. Hale Goes to Juneau, and come and talk to me, call me, email me, anything you'd like. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. St. Clair. Now we're going to move on into the question and answer. We have a few pre-planned questions, and then we'll be moving into all these beautiful questions that you've been getting to us. And again, if you look at these slips of paper on your tables, just write your question, hold them in the air, and we'll have a runner bring them down to us. And so the first question, we will start with Mr. Hale, and we'll just go down the line and end with Representative Hughes. And the first question is, what solutions do you bring to the table to help Alaska's fiscal crisis? Mr. Hale, 1 minute.
Yeah, so as an independent, as a centrist, I say a lot of things that are uncomfortable for both Republicans and Democrats. And what I say about the budget is that we need to both reduce spending and raise revenue. At a bare minimum, we need to go to the 50-50 plan that Governor Jay Hammond originally envisioned for the permanent fund earnings. For the last 35 years, we've been socking that away in a savings account, and that's great. But from this point forward, I think we need to, look at spending that each year as it comes out in order to close this budget gap. If we had done that this year, the gap would have been $1.3 billion smaller. So.
Thank you very much. Our next question has to do with our Alaska seniors. And we'll start out with Adam. You're next. All right. And the question is this: what will you do to strengthen the safety net for Alaska's seniors? Okay.
So the safety net, that requires money. So in order to strengthen it, I think we need to raise revenue to cover our bills. As far as, I've heard some good ideas at this table and also at the VP Forum, and I'm not an expert on Medicaid or Medicare, but there are a lot of very bright, very talented people in this state, and I think by working together, we can find efficiencies and better ways to do things to get us into a position where we can again, start strengthening these things instead of looking at what we have to cut.
Thank you very much. The next question, and we'll start with Adam on this. What will you do to strengthen, we'll start with Steve on this one. Last legislative session, Senate Bill 1, a smoke-free workplace bill and an AARP Alaska legislative priority, passed the Senate, but failed to be heard in the bill's final committee of referral in the House. There is every indication the same bill will be introduced again this session. Would you support a bill that would protect seniors from secondhand smoke? Mr. Hale?
I did not know that there was more to that bill than that, but I do support a smoke-free workplace, and I am a smoker.
Thank you. Mr. So number 1, and we will start with Representative Hughes on this. How do you think criminal justice reform will affect the Valley? This is specific to Senate Bill 91 that was passed.
Yeah, so I was in favor of Senate Bill 91. I think that treatment instead of jail for drug offenses is much more effective. Someone from the Department of Corrections said that we get back a much worse product than we put in. So I'm in favor of that, but Senate Bill 91 does not work unless you have the money for the treatment programs. And so that's something that we have to look at, because we need facilities, we need more treatment facilities in Alaska, we need better treatment programs. I have someone who was personally affected by Senate Bill 91, very dear friend of mine. She will actually be able to get her driver's license back soon, rather than having to wait until 2021. So yes, I was in favor of it, and I continue to be in favor of it.
Thank you, Mr. Hale. Mr. Crow?
Very much, Steve. We're going to start with Tim on this next question. And this has to do with, it's just a simple question, but I think it's a really relevant one, especially considering the environment in Alaska today. Whatever your affiliation, what are your top priorities if you had the opportunity to serve in jail?
My top priorities are jobs. I don't have any shovel-ready jobs, but I'm a shovel-ready guy. I work construction. I think, if you look at Article 9, Section 16 in the state constitution, which is the appropriations limit, it says that 1/3 of the budget should be for infrastructure, should be the capital budget. And right now, we've reduced that capital budget way down, and these are jobs for regular people. These are great jobs for regular people, just like me. And this is a job for me. I was at my local 302 monthly meeting a while back, and they were listing off the jobs that were going to bid in Alaska, and there might have been a half a dozen. And they were listing off the jobs that were going to bid in Washington State, because our union covers both states, and there were lots of them. So I don't want to see a bunch of working class guys having to go out of state for work. It's just not good for our economy.
Thank you very much. Adam?
Refused. The next question has to do with mega projects. Sisseton-Owatonna, Knickarn Bridge, whatever new ideas are around the corner that we haven't discovered yet. What kind of scrutiny would you apply to proposed mega projects? How would you determine if they're worth spending money, or if they're just spending money to spend money? And we'll start with Mr. Crump.
This is actually one of my pet peeves, because I'm an infrastructure guy. I build roads and I build oil fields, and we spend all this money on these mega projects. This Sisseton-Owatonna Dam, the Cabana Bridge, the road in Juneau, and not one shovelful of dirt was ever turned. And I think I really agree with Mrs. Hughes on the vetting process. I do think that the legislature should not be vetting these projects. But there's a lot of good, viable projects out there that we could be spending our money on if we had any money.
Thank you very much. This next question is an interesting question, because what it has to do is it has to do specifically with seniors and hospice. Right now, there is no real footprint for hospice care in our community. And the question comes, and I'm paraphrasing here, but the question comes in the form of, would you support a certificate of need for home hospice care in our community when there is none right now? Adam?
I've heard a lot of back and forth about certificate of need, whether that's actually the way that we want to do things, but right now it is the way that we do things. So yes, I would support a certificate of need for home hospice care here in the valley. My parents are aging, they're both over 65. My dad had a stroke last year. You know, they're out of state right now, but they will be returning, and you know, that's probably something that we're going to have to look at some point. So absolutely, we need hospice care in the valley.
The next question has to do with a few different things about workers' rights. In Anchorage a few years ago, we had a mayor who pushed through an ordinance that limited collective bargaining ability of public unions. We haven't seen statewide legislation to that effect. And we also had the recent ballot initiative that increased the minimum wage. There's also a push to increase the minimum wage further nationwide to $15 an hour. There's also other groups that believe that there shouldn't be a minimum wage, that employers should be in charge of that. So this audience member wants to know your views on the minimum wage and right-to-work legislation. We'll start off with Representative Hughes. Mr. Hale.
So I'm a member in good standing of two unions, Local 302 and Local 959, so I do not support right to work. My four brethren fought sometimes with blood and fire to bring us the 40-hour work week, the weekend, vacation pay, maternity leave, per diem, pensions, and health and occupational safety. So no, I do not support right to work.
Thank you. Mr. Crum.
Thank you very much, Steve. At this point in the forum, we're going to invite each candidate to make a closing statement. Again, we did draw straws for the closing statements. Adam, you'll go first, Steve second, Tim third, and Shelley last. So, Adam, you're up.
So, I'm going to leave you with this, and I tell this story a lot, so don't stop me if you've heard it before. But I knock on a lot of doors. I have to gather signatures in order to get on the ballot. I won't be on the primary ballot, but if I gather enough signatures, I will be on the November ballot. And so I knock on a lot of doors. And at one door, a gentleman asked me what my campaign promises were. And I had no answer for him. I blushed, I stuttered, I turned around and went home in shame. But I sat down on the couch and I thought some up. So I will always do what I reason is best for my district and my state. I will work with both sides on every issue in order to find a solution that is disagreeable to both of them. I will keep integrity and transparency as my watchwords. And if I'm elected, I will not seek more than 2 terms in the Senate, and I will never let a lobbyist buy me dinner. Thank you, and visit my website.
Thank you, Shelley. I'm sorry.
Paid for by Tim Hale. P.O. Box 2918, Palmer, Alaska 99645.